the girl with the basket of bananas. The rooster crowed, its shrill call piercing the quiet dawn of the village. Smoke rose from nearby huts where mothers were already tending to fires. For the other children, the morning meant laughter, rushing to school in neat uniforms, and dreams of lessons ahead. But for Amara, only 12, the morning meant labor. Amara! A sharp voice thundered from inside the mud house. She flinched. It was Mama Nkechi, her stepmother. Amara stepped out timidly, rubbing her sleepy eyes. The woman thrust a heavy woven basket into her arms. Inside lay fresh bananas, green and yellow, shining with dew. "Take these to the market," Mama Nkechi ordered, her lips pressed into a cruel line. "Don't come back until they are all sold. And mind you, bring me every kobo, or else you will regret it." "Yes, Ma," Amara whispered. Her arms trembled as she balanced the basket on her head. She glanced longingly at the small school across the dusty path, where children were gathering with books and laughter. For a moment her heart ached. She wanted to join them, to hold a pen, to write her name. But instead, she walked away slowly, calling in a soft voice, "Banana, come and buy banana." By midday, the sky darkened. Heavy clouds gathered, and thunder rolled above the village. Soon, rain poured down in thick sheets. Children in school squealed in delight, pressing their faces to the window panes. But Amara was in the marketplace, drenched, her thin dress clinging to her body, her feet buried in mud. Still she moved from stall to stall, her voice shaking. "Banana, banana for sale." Some bought out of pity. Others ignored her. One woman frowned and muttered, "What kind of stepmother sends a child out like this?" But Amara pressed on. She knew what awaited her if she returned home unsold. Hunger, beatings, silence. It was on one such rainy afternoon that Amara met Madame Grace. The woman, a teacher at the community primary school, spotted the shivering child. She hurried over with an umbrella, her face filled with concern. "My dear," Madame Grace said softly, "why are you standing here in the rain? Shouldn't you be in school?" Amara looked down, ashamed. Then in a trembling voice, she spoke of her dead mother, her distant father, and the stepmother who cared only for money. Tears welled in Madame Grace's eyes. Without hesitation, she bought all the bananas in the basket. "But more importantly," she asked, "do you want to learn?" Amara's eyes widened, a spark of hope lighting within her. "Yes, Ma, more than anything in the world." From that day forward, Madame Grace found Amara often. On scraps of paper, she taught her letters and numbers. Slowly, Amara learned to read. With shaky strokes, she wrote her name for the first time, Amara. Months passed. Though Mama Nkechi remained cruel, Amara carried a secret fire inside her. Every word, she learned, was a step toward freedom. One day, the school announced an essay competition. The theme, My Dream for the Future. Madame Grace secretly wrote Amara's name among the entrants. When Amara found out, she panicked. "Ma, I cannot. I am just a banana seller. The children will laugh at me." But Madame Grace took her hand gently. "No, my child. You are more than what the world calls you. Speak from your heart." That night, Amara sat by a dim lantern, clutching a stub of pencil. She wrote about her dream, to become a teacher, to help children like her who had been denied education. Her words, though simple, carried the weight of truth. The day of the competition arrived. The school hall buzzed with children in pressed uniforms. Amara walked in barefoot, her faded dress hanging loosely. Murmurs rose around her. "Isn't that the banana girl?" Her hands trembled as she held her paper. But when she began to read, the hall grew still. Her voice shook at first, but then grew steady, stronger than she had ever known. She spoke of her struggles, her hunger, her longing for books, and her dream to become a teacher. By the end, silence hung in the air. Then the hall erupted in applause. Some wiped tears from their eyes. Amara had won first prize. The story spread through the village, reaching the ears of a local foundation that supported children's education. They offered her a scholarship. For the first time, Amara wore a school uniform of her own. She walked proudly into class, clutching books instead of bananas. Years later, the dusty basket of bananas was only a memory. Amara now stood before a blackboard, chalk in hand, dressed neatly in a teacher's attire. Her voice was calm, steady, filled with warmth. "Children," she said, looking at her pupils, some poor, some broken, some just like she once was, never stop dreaming. No matter how heavy the load you carry today, your tomorrow can be brighter. At the back of the room sat Madame Grace, older now, her eyes brimming with tears of pride. She had given Amara the gift of knowledge, and Amara had turned that gift into purpose. No longer just the girl with the basket of bananas, Amara had become the woman who transformed pain into hope. And so her story lived on, whispered from one generation to the next, an African folktale of resilience, kindness, and dreams that refused to die.